Coming to you from the Strings and Things studio in Ventura, California, this is the Strings Unraveled podcast. Oh, Karin was trying to fake me out. She gave me a face like I was saying her wrong.
No. I was making noises, and I thought, this is kind of rude. I don't know if the microphones pick up. Well, they'll pick up that. But you digging around for a marker, they might not. Who
I
knows?
was
Putting markers away, and I realized that is just really rude. So I was like holding it in place, waiting for her to finish before I dropped it. But I was giving her a weird look.
The look I was probably giving you was like, shh. You may have been interpreting it as like,
no,
shh. Oh.
no. I could see you're like, what is she doing? I don't know how to respond to this. For once, I got her.
Yeah, I thought you were trying to fake me out.
You know what? That is now the best day ever because I freaked her out, which is so hard. It never happens because I don't have that kind of brain.
Mark your calendar. We'll celebrate the anniversary every year.
Just before Halloween, which is like bigger than Christmas for Anne. This is like the Super Bowl of holidays. Yeah.
I definitely like it better than Christmas. But you can't let it get too big because one of the reasons I like it is that it is smaller than Christmas.
Yeah.
And it doesn't
That's
have
part
all
of the appeal. Are you a yard decorator?
Hit or miss for Halloween. Sometimes we do, sometimes we don't. We always like to get that bag of spider web and put that on our bushes. But, you know, we're not much for our yard anyway, so I don't know if you can tell.
Is it decorated year-round?
Yeah, all year. We keep Halloween in our front yard all year long.
My favorite year, because our neighbors, they'll spend more money on Halloween yard decorations than for Christmas. My favorite is the giant web. And they put their children's, like, they make like a stuffed child stuck in the web.
Oh, that's
currently
funny.
I love it. That. They have a giant spider off to the side coming to get the child.
Those are some of my
those
favorites.
are cute. We have a giant spider on our roof right now. It's like this big posable giant. It's like Aragog. On the roof, and then there's like a dummy wrapped in spider webs that's hanging from underneath him with lots of spider webs.
Awesome.
That's what's going on in our front yard right now.
How do
you attach it to your so it doesn't
The
spider's pretty heavy, so he's just sitting on the roof, and with all the winds I was concerned I was going to come home and he wasn't going to be on the roof, but he still is. And then the other's hung by a nail from the eaves, so
it
would have been
fun
to
videotape it getting battered
by the wind. No, he didn't go anywhere. He had his I meant the dummy.
Oh yeah.
We have some like twinkle lights, and we have that guy, and then on Halloween we'll probably set up a couple more things. But James is a huge Halloween decorator.
I love Halloween. Yeah, so it just depends. Last year Kevin made fake gravestones.
Oh, that's
fun. Like the goofy "You Are Next." You know, or those are fun. So hit or miss for decorating.
Mr. IP. It kind of depends on the year if you're feeling like it or not.
Yeah.
But yeah, so today is, when we're recording it, today is Thursday the 29th.
Yeah.
So we've got a couple days left before Halloween. But you'll hear this 2 days afterwards on Monday.
Yeah. It won't even be Dia de los Muertos. Oh, no. Yeah, Dia de los Muertos.
Is that Monday?
Yeah, I believe the 2nd is that day.
I didn't know that.
Because it corresponds to All Souls Day, which All Saints Day is November 1st. And All Souls is November 2nd. Woo!
Well, I learned something today.
Watch Coco after you listen to us. Watch Coco.
Yeah. That's always fun.
That's kind of my plan for next Monday. So I would like to tell you guys a harrowing, scary story.
Okay.
So I have these really great sewing snips that are Fawns and Porter. You know, you just squeeze them, and they are very sharp.
Yeah.
And it's like they have like the ends of 8-inch scissors at the end of the little snips. So I usually leave them uncapped when I am sewing. But I've been very good about keeping the cap and putting it right back on when I'm done sewing. So I got it from this table, and I went to iron something, and then I came back to my sewing machine, and I bumped something on the table as I came back to the sewing machine, and not paying attention to what I bumped, I tried to catch it with my knees.
No!
And when I was a little girl, I had this, like, big fear. I watched some movie where the bad guy stabbed someone with like a secret penknife in their femoral artery, and they just like bled out and they were dead in seconds. And I was like obsessed with like how quickly could you really die from that, Mom? Because we live really close to emergency room. Like, could we get to the hospital from our house? She's like, no, you'd probably die before we could get you seen in the ER. So that has always been one of the most terrifying ideas of death. And there I am. Those scissors went about a quarter inch into my leg.
Oh my
But way down by my knee.
god. Okay. Still. Ow.
Yeah, it was not cool.
No.
And I'm here by myself.
That's like the day when I sewed through my finger when I was here by myself. I was like, what do I do? Uh-oh, I've hurt myself.
Well, I went and got our first aid kit,
Yep,
which I
you're
think
welcome.
your finger sewing event. And I put one of the good Band-Aids over, and it didn't. I'm like, well, I'll know if this is serious if it bleeds through.
Oh my god. Oh.
But thick thighs save lives.
Amen.
It only went into like a little fatty layer.
Yeah, you're
but
fine.
It went in a quarter inch.
Oh my god.
So I didn't die.
I like the
And I
spooky
didn't
tale.
bleed out.
We could have made. We already have a topic for today, but we could have made it like spooky sewing
Ooh.
stories
Next year. Next
Okay.
October.
Remind
I'm
us.
going to make a little note over here. Spooky scary. So I just told you my worst one. I hope nothing worse happens in the next year.
Otherwise you guys will have to forget that story, and she'll tell us again next year.
Can you describe that amazing bowl that you're using for yarn?
I have put it
So-
on my Instagram several weeks, earlier in
yeah.
the month. This came from
Oh.
Michael's. It's just like a black little bowl, sort of supposed to be maybe like a cauldron.
For
with
candy or something. But
Yeah, it's like small for a candy bowl, or like it's for your decorative candy that you're
Right.
not giving out to the trick or treaters.
your
Which is all
personal
the candy.
your personal stash.
Right. And it's got these bony fingers holding it up, so
That's
it's like a
awesome.
bowl on a little bony finger stand, and
That
it's
that would
making-
be big enough to hold like a rasta.
yeah, it's a healthy yarn bowl, so I could put just about anything into it.
A
And
yowza.
You'll probably be seeing it all year long.
Mhm.
But I think it was $7.99 after being on sale at Michael's.
Nice.
So what are you working on over there, Katie?
Do we do finished first or working on first?
Working on.
Working on.
in progress.
You know how I remind myself,
before
and I might be doing that right
Because
now.
you might finish it
You
before
could
you get to your
finish.
turn.
Yeah,
Okay, got
if
it.
you get to go last on what have you finished?
Oh, I'm not-
dibs.
Got it.
Yeah, I'm
You
nowhere
can
near
add
close to that.
something.
You
Yeah,
think
but you
after
made some
2 years
good-
of doing this, I would remember.
That's my helpful reminder of like, well, Katie didn't go first because she was trying
I
to
write
finish
it-
something.
I write it down in my notes. Like I have sections where it's like finished and working on, so I can remember. So I need to swap them because they're in the wrong order.
Oh,
That's why I'm
see,
confused.
I have no order to this because I have my topic notes first.
Got it. Okay, so what am I working on?
Yeah, what are you doing? over there?
I was looking through my under the bed box of sweaters because there was a slight chill in the air this week.
Yes, it was a little damp in the morning.
gorgeous?
It was wonderful. And I saw my scrappy leftover sock yarn sweater that I made 2 years ago, and then Instagram reminded me that that was the anniversary of me finishing it.
That's sometimes
Um,
helpful.
Yeah. So it was
Like,
2
oh,
years ago that
yeah.
I finished it, so then I looked in my stash and I have so much yarn left over from the first one that I was trying to get rid of leftover sock yarn with, and I've accumulated more in the 2 years.
Uh-huh.
So this is a second scrappy sock
I
yarn
love
sweater.
the colors. It's almost a gradient.
So I'm doing I have rules for myself. There's 2 strands of sock yarn held together, a solid and a variegated, and then I do 6 rows with those 2 held together, and then let's say I'll cut the solid and I join in a new solid, but I keep the variegated for the next 6 rows, and then I keep what I added before and add a new color, so they sort of blend together. No 2 are cut at the same time, so you get like more of a blend than a stripe. That's the idea anyway.
I like it.
Yeah, so I'm working on, this is the flax pullover pattern by Tin Can Knits because I just wanted like a basic top-down pullover. Raglan increases, and I have 7 more increase rounds until I can separate my sleeves.
Woohoo!
Yeah, so that's what I'm working on. I don't have anything else really, big or anything on my needles right now because my brain isn't functioning at full capacity every day, so I'm just working on something easy.
Join the club.
Mhm.
So Karin, what are you working on?
I am working on the thing in my hands at the moment is a very Halloweeny Miss Ziggy, and of course it will not be finished before Halloween.
You have 3 days.
Yeah.
Knit faster.
Yeah, that's so funny. What did I
At
do?
least you're going in the round
Okay.
now.
I am going in the round.
That's nice.
I do have. I've already separated, and or I guess I didn't separate. I joined where the front and back, so now I'm going in the round. And I swear I love the skein of yarn I'm currently on is from Yarn Love. It was part of their sock one,
That's a cute colorway.
and it's like all the fun colors of Halloween candy.
Yeah, it's like the perfect bag of candy.
It's a perfect bag of candy.
Got
Yeah.
like Reese's orange.
Reese's and Kit Kat.
I'm not
Yep.
sure what the purple is, the purple gray, but it's just
It's a Halloween-y color.
It's a Halloween
Yeah.
color. It's got lime.
I like the
in
little
there.
touch of gray with it too, because it kind of
It
doesn't make it too
It
nuts.
kind of anchors it.
I really
yeah.
like
So
it.
it's not all hyper colors. But it's not black.
Yeah.
Which would be fine, but I've got enough black in my other previous sparkly skein. So
Tell us what you're doing special, because I can already see you did something special.
Well, because I'm using stash, I used a cup. This particular skein of yarn came. Is this the one that came with the? Oh, it also is like it's meant for socks with, and I have a little mini skein that will go with it somewhere in my bag. But I'm making a narrow stripe because I'm trying to use up some mini skeins in here, and I know that in the striping I'm not going to get 5 inches from a mini skein. But part of that 5, so actually, I've got a really narrow, like 1/2 inch stripe of Edison bulb type color, and most of that is because I didn't have enough in my stash to finish the front and the back
Of that first stripe.
of that stripe.
I couldn't tell if it was just pooling that I was seeing is that stripe, but I see now it goes all the way around.
Because that little 1/2 inch looks like it's supposed to go with the Yarn Love skein, but it doesn't. And I'm using the order that I'd set out, and Anne says, "Do that exactly, do that."
You know, like when you're playing and you hit the right one.
So I took a picture. A picture with my phone, so I will not forget the order that it's going to go in.
Nice.
And I keep thinking, I'm not at 5 inches. You know that, and I know I probably have enough on this skein for 5 inches. I just, I'm starting to get the feeling of Yarn Chicken, even though I'm really far, far away from Yarn Chicken.
Yeah, you got a lot of Yarn Chicken to go.
But you know, when it starts getting smaller, your eyes...
Like 30-40 grams of yarn right there.
I know. But you start looking at it going, that's a lot smaller than when I started.
That nugget of yarn never goes away. It lasts the longest. Like that little walnut-sized ball, you're like, oh, I'm almost done. And then you're like, what the heck? This yarn is still here.
Yeah, you did it for 8 hours.
Okay, but that little walnut, takes you the longest to knit through because doubt slows you down.
Well, so I like to be scientific about this. If I'm starting to feel nervous, and I'm planning, because I can get like really like stuck in the planning, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Mark where you are, weigh it, work 10 rows, rounds, weigh it again, and then you will know exactly.
That requires me to stop being lazy and go get my scale.
There's one right here.
Or at home or whatever. It requires me to actually stop and put some thought into it. Okay. And at some point, when doubt makes me slow down enough that I get annoyed, then I'll put the work in.
All right. When you play Yarn Chicken, do you knit slower? Because I knit faster. I don't know why, but it's like it's the same like mind game I play when I'm running out of gas in my car. I'm like, if I go faster, I'll get there sooner, but I'll use more gas. So I should drive slower, but in my mind, I'm like, go fast, you be done faster.
It shouldn't slow me down because
You'll know the outcome sooner.
When it slows me down, it just drags it out. It's like, but sometimes it's hard to focus because I keep looking at the ball of yarn. Fair and enough. It's like, okay, but I can tell, I've still got half the ball, or maybe just a smidge less than half the ball. I got plenty. What else? Oh, I'm doing a cowl with yarn that I'm absolutely in love with. It's a skein of Spin Cycle yarns in the color Summer Love, which is really fun. It's like pale yellow and light blues and warm orangey yellows. It is like the fun warm colors of summer, and it's also, let me see if I can find it is Silka PE, which is Rambouillet 100% Montana and Wyoming Rambouillet.
This is the contrasting color?
Yes, it's a single ply, thick, thin. It has a very rustic feel, but it's so soft and cozy. I love working with this yarn. And then and it's a cowl, and hold on, it's a fun name. And I keep saying it to myself quietly. Where did I put my looking for my pattern, which I set aside trying to plan ahead, and I forgot. It's Asa Okanakai.
Okay.
It's where you, and if you're not sure how to pronounce it, they have a pronunciation guide, which really helps it. But it's just fun to say that. Asa Okanakai.
It's very pretty.
It's like a humu humu nuku nuku apua.
And I believe this particular one it's a benefit for the three sisters. It proceeds from the sale of the pattern go to help send kids to school.
Nice.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So it's a great thing. Oh, and then the inside, I gotta show you the skein. So it's one of those cowls that you have the option to line it with something soft and cozy.
But you're gonna cover the inside of that? It's so pretty.
The self-striping part?
Yes.
It is
Yeah,
pretty.
it is pretty on the inside.
Yeah, but
that's pretty too.
Okay, that's really pretty too. No, do another project. Do a separate project.
Well, okay, so we were talking in our stitch night about how we feel about alpaca next to our skin.
I love it, by the way. I didn't pipe in because there were so many strong opinions. I have no problem with it touching my neck.
I want to love it, and I always forget that it doesn't love me at my neck. And so lining this with something that doesn't love me may be a big mistake.
Lining a cowl with yarn that's uncomfortable to wear around your neck.
But the color is so pretty.
It is beautiful.
Okay,
and it would go with what you're doing. But no, stop it. No, because the inside of your cowl is so pretty, and that's going to hurt you. Karin, I can't let you hurt yourself.
Also, it's beautiful with that, but also it would be beautiful with so many other things.
Yeah.
I can find something else
to do. We've just vetoed you.
Okay.
No.
Friends don't let friends hurt themselves with yarn.
To help. Yeah, we are here to help.
If you get a chance, go to Farmer's Daughter Fibers and look up Oh Dang. It is a really nice silk mohair alternative in that there's no mohair.
Yeah, because some people feel that way about mohair.
Right. And ironically, I'm okay with the mohair. And I want
high quality mohair and silk.
Although this is Surrey alpaca. Regular alpaca sometimes is itchy.
Right. Those fur yarns like that I can only wear them if I'm not going to get an ounce of sweaty. Because as soon as you sweat a little bit, that's when I start to get, the prickly feeling.
Oh,
so I could wear it outside in the cold, but if I went inside, and I'd have to take it off immediately.
You know what? I found my love. Surrey alpaca does not hurt me.
Because you could unskein that and wear it around your neck for a little while.
And that is a really good tip, too. If you're with any kind of yarn that is in a hank, the big loops of, you could practice wear it before you commit to the act of making it into something.
Wear your yarn like a necklace.
Wear it like a necklace and see how your skin likes it. You know, my skin loves Surrey alpaca.
Good.
This is like the best
still think
string
you
of
should
pearls.
Not cover your beautiful stitching, but it's your.
That's true.
It's your cowl.
Well, it is true because on the inside it has this really beautiful textured gradient stripe that just comes naturally from using the spin cycle yarns.
How long is the cowl going to be?
I've got to work on this part until it's 9 to 10. It's going to be 11 inches from end to end.
If it's long enough and you fold it over, you can see the reverse side.
Oh yeah, you probably could, but it's only half. It would only be half, like 5 inches.
Yeah. It's still
or
pretty.
How long is your neck?
If I don't cover it up, I can just turn it inside out.
Well, yeah, that too.
Yeah, because it is a beautiful texture. Different. The front texture looks like little window panes.
Beautiful.
It's really pretty.
Like the front is really subtle and kind of lush from being that really rich green.
Oh, and it's the deepest, beautiful teal.
The inside is really dynamic.
Yeah. So.
It's a great idea. Like maybe a different.
Look up the color Glacial Lake Missoula. It's cream with teal and green and pops of bright yellow and deep purple, but all in a very soft, fuzzy, furry way. But anyway. So that, and a cross stitch. I'm working on cross stitch. Cross stitch has become my comfort craft lately. It's like when I don't have the comfort of only making X's back and forth, going in a half a stitch one way for a long ways, and then go half a stitch the other way. Just feels very, very comfortable. when my brain won't focus on knit stitches, which is weird because knitting is kind of second nature. But anyway, I'm working on a pattern from the Frosted Pumpkin Stitchery, which is like one of my favorite. If you like kawaii style of characters, that's what Frosted Pumpkin Stitchery does a lot of.
Very cute.
Yeah.
I love my daughter saying, I'm practicing my kawaii style.
How do you practice that?
Like her drawing style.
Oh, very clever.
What are you working on, Anne? Oh, she's counting.
I am, but I can stop.
We're going to talk to her.
That's fine. I could continue to ignore you, and we just sit quietly
We'll just
together
sit in silent, radio silence for a minute while Anne counts.
Don't cut it. So I'm still working on High Lonesome, but I did finish the body within a couple of days of Alexander's birthday, which was October 10th.
Woohoo. Nice.
I think I finished the body like on like the 13th or 14th. So I'm still working on the sleeves. I actually have not found a moment this month to cast on the sleeves. But I will.
Sounds so familiar.
Right. But I still, it's like last time it took me from October 10th to May something to finish his birthday sweater. So anytime before May, I'm ahead of my old record.
Very
true.
true.
New records though, because then next year you got to do even better. Than
Oh
that.
yeah, I mean, God forbid I finish it by his birthday next year. Oh no.
No, that's just too much pressure.
Yeah. There's definitely like this excitement when you let your kids choose, and this one I chose for him. And that's probably true for anybody, but my kids get really excited if I let them choose the fabric or choose the pattern I'm knitting.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm working on High Lonesome. I am trying to get back into the Sanguine sweater because I have so many sweaters I want to start, but I'm trying to be disciplined and finish not have more than 3 sweaters going at a time.
That sounds reasonable.
Yeah.
Boring, but reasonable.
Right, exactly. All those things. And then I've been working on Empower People gals. So I have...
That's an understatement.
Right.
Well,
some are finished too, so I'll talk about those later. So I have 3 that I'm crocheting simultaneously, so none of them are finished. But it's a hot tip. You guys were talking about earlier. Don't let your crochet one go too long because you're following the row pattern.
Yeah, you'll get there sooner than you think.
Yeah. I think I'm on track, though. Yeah. So there are 3 pretty
What's
purples.
the yarn that you're using that's got a nice sheen and drape to it?
I think it's called, True Boo. It's a Lion brand
Was it
rayon
Kubu or...
No, because I don't know.
I could be wrong. Sorry.
No, but that sounds right. But
like cotton bamboo or something like that.
I think this one's 100%.
That makes sense.
Well, this one's 100% bamboo rayon. And it's very smooth and it's called True Boo.
Okay.
It's very smooth, but it's very splitty.
It looks like it.
Yeah, I had to change my hook around a couple times to find one that wasn't splitting for me.
The drape in it gives it a very soft ply.
Yeah.
And
real pretty.
Yeah.
So I'm probably about 2/3 of the way on all 3 of them.
Nice.
And even though I'm trying to knit fast and have this one count for what have you finished,
right?
I am still working on my knitted Empower People cow. It's surprising that this wonderful little rectangle is taking a month.
Yeah. Yeah, the knitted one took me longer than I wanted it to because I was like, why aren't you done yet?
I get that. It's definitely a mindset and maybe a little bit reality too. That when I look at a simple, approachable project, I sabotage myself by thinking it should be done in an unreasonable amount of time because it's so simple and approachable. And then I'm like, why is this taking forever? And I don't keep the right mindset for it. But I am going to adore this because it is the most purpley purple that purple could be.
It's very purple. It's very royal purple.
The purple.
It's deep, but yet it has a glow to it.
And I've been looking forward to this.
Did you say what yarn that was?
No, it is by Abstract Fiber. I think she calls it Sonoma. And I don't remember the color anymore. Because I was carrying around the band and putting it in the pictures on Instagram everywhere I went. But I stopped doing that at some point. I'll see if it's showing in one of my Instagram pictures. Nope. Oh, she calls it Tahoma. But I don't see the color. And I chose this yarn from the Empower People website in their suggested indie dyers. As and the maker, Abstract Fiber, is in Portland. Portland was burning, and it's a home away from home for me. So she was really sweet and like kept me aware of when she was gonna dye it and mail it because she was trying to be mindful of the smoke. And it came, you hear the plastic rattling. It came with like a pretty decent plastic bag that's going to be a reusable. Yeah, it's acted as a project bag the whole way, and it's sturdy enough that I will certainly reuse it.
That's awesome.
Which, if you got plastic, reuse, right? Because you can't recycle it. That's what I'm working on.
Okay.
It's not been very productive as far as completed things. Well, that's the next segment, I guess.
Right.
So what have you made, Katie? What have you finished?
Let me look at my list. I don't remember. I finished a couple bandanas, like you were talking about. Yep. I made my knitted one, which I think I finished last time, but I have the knitted one, and then I crocheted one with some Malabrigo from my stash. I finished that, I think, last week.
It looked like a Malabrigo color, but it was really like
it's Wales Road,
extra pretty. So it was like a very purple, because sometimes that color can be very blue. But
yeah, it was pretty purple. It was repurposed from a different project that I never really cared about, so I ripped it out, and it was 2 skeins of Arroyo, so I have a huge amount left still. And so I finished that, and then I sewed one just to see how the pattern worked. I made one more hat. I was on a kick of hats, so I made lots of hats. I made one more for me. I used a pattern called Held Together, and it's for 2 strands of sock yarn. It was just a really, it's knitted at a pretty tight gauge, so the fabric is really nice and squishy. I had one ball of Finito from Malabrigo, which is like the super fine merino. It's like, feels like cashmere. It's so soft. But I only had this 150-gram ball, and so I held it together with some gray sock yarn that I had in my stash, and it's like a marled, and then you do like stripes of different colors. But so I made that, and then I revamped and rewrote a pattern that I had written. How many years did we say? 7 years ago?
No way.
It's been I think it was about 2013.
2013 that we wrote those patterns. Anyway, we had a project that never came to fruition, and I had patterns from that project. And there's a hat that I have renamed to the Grant Park hat. So it used to be called the Sarah Cross hat, but I don't like the association with Junipero Sarah too much, so I changed it to Grant because it was inspired by or named after the park where the cross is in Ventura, which is also Grant Park. So I named it Grant Park.
What do you know? Because I don't know anything about him, but what do you know about Grant?
I don't know a lot. So
it's so
don't
dangerous
cancel me.
out
I'm
there.
sorry.
It's so dangerous out there.
Grant Park also just sounded like a nicer name.
You definitely upgraded it.
Okay, good.
But yeah, if you get in trouble, you could always change it to Grand Park.
Okay, that's fine.
I like it because that's the truth. That's the place, right?
Yeah.
We did not. We got our wedding pictures there.
Yeah.
Well, I had not really been,
but we didn't live here at the time.
In the daylight until we went to take pictures there. Because I had gone up the road.
You went there at night? What are you doing up there at night?
I drove up that road at night.
Wow.
I don't think that's a make-out point.
We went to look at fireworks. Simmer down, guys. I had all my children with me. And my husband. So, we put them in the back seat. or we sat in the back seat and they sat in the front.
Fed them candy.
Did you grow up in Ventura if you haven't gone to Grant Park?
No. I grew up in Santa Clarita, so you could hang out at Meadows Park with me, okay?
Well, I grew up in Fillmore, and
was that the hangout
nowhere?
Well, that or Glen Park was really my park.
Nice.
Anyways.
So it's a hat.
Make out places of our youth.
This has nothing to do with anything except that we were talking about it. I live right next to a park.
Ah.
So the perks of living right next to the park is you can see the people who come to the park to make out. There's a, like right out my bedroom window, I can see a bench that's like a couple 100 feet away. And there were these two people sitting on it. And I walked by and I was like, I feel weird looking, but like, have you been a teenager if you didn't go to a park to make out?
Right.
Anyway, that.
How much
Sad
trouble can you get into in actually in the park, like in a car in the park?
Yeah, that would be different. So the hat is crocheted with broomstick lace, and the original design for the pattern had a knitted brim that transitioned into the crochet at the top. But I wanted to make it more accessible to just strictly crocheters. So now it has both a knitted and a crocheted brim option, and the pattern is on Ravelry as of today. So if you wanted to buy it, it's called Grant Park. And I'm teaching it as a class next month. Well, this month when you hear it, it's November. But
which, if you're listening, anyone anywhere can take Kaity's class.
Yeah, you can sign up right now. This episode will come out the day the classes come out.
Yep.
So those are the things that I have finished.
That's pretty good.
Some little stuff.
So like a knitting pattern or a crochet pattern. You like finished a whole pattern.
Designed it.
Most of it was done.
No, she already designed it.
She reformatted. Well,
There
no,
you go.
she got new samples.
One new sample. Yeah.
One new sample.
Oh, it's here.
Yeah,
like,
it's right there.
There's two.
Yeah,
This
oh,
is the one that
okay.
you dyed.
The orange
You're
is
talking
the-
about.
I see.
The orange is the original,
The original.
one. And
Got
then
it.
the blue is the new crocheted one.
Meanwhile, I'm just like sitting here while it's here, and I'm like, when is she gonna show it to us?
It's right here behind me.
Oh,
It's
nice.
a glass head.
But I love that you were saying before the blue one. You dyed that yarn. I love.
I dyed
the
it to go with
shades.
something else, with a yellow yarn that I dyed with marigolds, but I didn't like the combination of the two, as it turned out. So I had this big giant skein of blue worsted weight yarn, and it was in my
Perfect.
office when I needed some worsted weight yarn. So that's what it is.
Very nice.
Stash is never a waste.
No.
It will have its purpose just hasn't come to fruition
What
yet.
did you say earlier tonight? You're like, you will save that thing.
Oh
and it
yeah,
will be
someone
there when
was
you
like,
need
"Why
it.
do I have this?"
And it
I'm
will
like,
make you
'cause you'll have
smile.
it someday, and you'll be like, "This, I need yarn. Look, here's some
Yeah.
yarn."
How lucky that I had exactly the thing
Yep.
that I needed. Thank you, past self.
Yes.
Usually, I hate my past self.
I know.
That's like what I always like to say is like, this is a problem for future Katie, but like future Katie really gets mad at past Katie. She's like, why did you do this to me?
Oh, past.
Well,
Katie.
past Katie made that great yarn, so
There you go.
So
that's what I've also been saying of like, be kind, don't trust future you.
Yeah.
And like leave future you really good notes. And like we've really been focusing on that at work. And the two of us girls have been doing like insane notes. I'm pretty sure the boys just roll their eyes. But every time it's like, well, when did you bring this up? Let me flip through my yellow notepad here.
Yeah.
I
Because-
talked to you about it on Tuesday.
current you may be completely 100% confident that you will know this always, but future you will say, "What the heck was I thinking?"
Or you look at the note that you were so smart to write, and you're like, what the hell does this say?
I don't know what this means. I made abbreviations. Someone help me, understand myself.
Am I in like a bad horror movie where this note is now a clue to save my life?
Oh gosh, I'd be in trouble. I gotta take better notes. If somehow the name of my future killer had to be discerned by my notes, I better take better notes.
The best movie there is Memento, where he has to relearn
Right.
it again and again.
Well, Karen, what did you finish?
What did you finish? Karen?
What did I finish? I finished one. I'm Empower People's Cowl.
Empower People Cow.
Yeah, I only did one,
Awesome.
but I finished my one.
You only need one.
But
You only have one neck.
And I got it just in time to work because I'm working at the polls here locally. I'm very excited to be part of the system for that. And especially, I was a little unnerving because everybody around me is like, I know where I'm going to be. I'm like, as of yesterday, I'm like, I don't know where I'm supposed to be assigned, where my assignment is. I've got all this training and I don't know where I'm going to be assigned. But that's because I said I was willing to go wherever they needed me in the county.
So they were waiting to see where they needed you.
Yep, and when she's like, she's almost crying. She goes, "You don't understand how happy you're making me that you're willing to do this." And I'm like,
I just got chilled.
really? She goes, you don't understand how many people go through the training and then they don't want to go, then they only want to be their one place. and and so I wanted to be in a place that needed that. It's one of the new areas. The city that I'm going to be in used to own. It's a pretty good sized space, lots of population. Had only 2 places previously to be able to vote. Now they've got 5.
That's awesome.
And so they need more people, and I got to be one of those people.
I had every intention of wanting to do that. At the beginning of this year, I was like, oh, it's an election year. I should, figure out how to, volunteer or do that. And then all the COVID stuff happened, and I thought, maybe next time. So
well,
you're a better person than I.
This is the first year that it's not... I'm actually an employee of Ventura County for this job, because it's the first time they've had they need so many people. It's a paid position.
That's awesome.
So which is also really good for me too.
You'll have
but
to let me know how it goes. So
I know.
Next
they're
time I could try.
super organized. I will tell you, they're super organized.
That's
they're
good
because they've had to, because they're tied. The whole system that they use is tied into the state system. So
well, that gives me confidence.
Yeah.
I'm excited to learn about how the ballots get handled after, because you have a 10-week contract, right? So
Noelle, they've only scheduled me through Tuesday.
Okay. Sorry.
But it could be longer if they need people to come in. But they've been counting.
I can't
it's
believe
interesting.
They won't need you after the election.
Well, they might.
Yeah.
But the system that they have,
I suppose they don't really know,
is very interesting. I don't want to talk about it because security and all that.
Yeah.
But
I'm excited to learn from you what the behind the scenes looks like, as much as you can share.
We have a person in the know.
Yeah.
It's really interesting. The part that I'll be doing is I'm actually going to be printing the ballots as they get printed on demand, and that printer is not connected to any other system for security purposes. So it's kind of there's a lot of thought that has gone into it, and it's not just this county, it's the whole state. California put a lot of thought into how they were going to do. There's redundancies on redundancies and so much good stuff. Anyway, so I finished the empowerment, and I finished a sewing thing that was going to be for a class for this month, but will probably be a December class, just because didn't get the editing of the video in time.
That's okay.
Previews. You can't really see it, but I've made 8 placemats because we have 6 in our family, and if the girlfriend comes or someone else comes
or someone spills something,
it is good to have an extra. And it's a quilt as you go with jelly rolls, and I love the print. Now I've got some basic ones, and I talk about in the video. So look forward to December, because these don't. One jelly roll and a couple of yards of backing fabric will make 8 placemats, and you'll have a little bit extra, but not much extra.
They're very cute.
So you can
This
go
would be
straight.
A very good gift, guys. If you're listening,
really
and
great.
Have not made your plans. Hopefully, it's early in the month.
Take Karen's video class. Yes. Learn how to make some awesome placemats.
Look, even the binding is made from leftover jelly roll strips.
They look great.
And then you can go crazy
I
and
have that same backing fabric, and I
love this
that
backing.
fabric.
Okay, so the backing fabric is like a peppermint stripe, but it's a little bit of a grungy stripe. So
it's like a dirty candy cane.
It's
like
totally
a candy cane you dropped on the floor.
But you're still gonna eat it. Exactly. I love this peppermint because it's not super clean. It's got that look of, hey, if it gets on a table and it's a little dirty, doesn't matter.
If it sits in a pile of gravy or something.
Yeah. But then I also show, you can't see it here because we don't have shell.
Okay, it just got a lot fancier.
Yeah,
a lot fancier. It's like definitely a crazy quilt feel.
Yeah, you can go crazy quilt, but know that it'll take more strips. But I still had enough to go crazy quilt, or only slightly crazy quilt.
But that's perfect because crazy quilt is the original quilt as you go.
Yeah.
I like that there are options.
Yeah, there's options. Honestly, it's
really
great.
creative just from the options you've shown.
Yep. And
keep it simple or go crazy. So
I wish I could have gotten it edited in time, because I spent a lot of time taking the photo and stylizing it. I got special plates, and I got a special lit garland with my twinkle lights, but whatever, it'll be for December, and it's kind of in Christmas, but you don't have. Here's the thing. Placemats are all year long. and jelly.
You could make some in December of just some neutral colors or whatever. And
find out your friends and family's like house color, right? And make them sets.
Or
I do recommend.
Kitchen or something.
The reason I recommend a jelly roll is because I don't have to think about finding 8 to 10.
For you.
Yeah. You don't have to do a jelly roll, but it's more fun to do the jelly roll, and you don't have to quilt it later because it's quilt as you go.
But you could also hit your stash.
You totally could. You could hit your stash, cut yourself some 2.5-inch strips, and you don't. And you can even piece. You can even piece the scraps to make them, make them look crazy without being crazy.
A likely story.
So yeah.
That's
cool.
Fun.
That's all I finished.
That's
I got a lot
good.
of things. This was just a month to work on stuff. Not completing stuff, just
put the work in.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get that. It's been a long month and also a short month at the same time. I don't know how that works, but
well, between my 2 jobs, I have literally worked 6 weeks straight with no days off.
Oh god.
So tomorrow, Friday, is my first day off in that's conservative estimation in 6 weeks, and I can't wait.
And what are you gonna do? You're not coming here.
I think I might be because I was gonna do newsletter stuff. Tonight, but I'm very tired because it was a crazy day.
Yeah.
So probably am coming here.
That sucks.
I've been working on masks. I've completed some.
Oh yeah.
So
yeah,
just a shameless plug for
if
holiday
you're
special
right now. On November 2nd, then this is the day that our newsletter comes out. There are brand new masks in the shop.
Just for autumnal
fall Thanksgiving themed masks.
Yeah,
so check them out.
These are limited edition. When they run out, they are gone, and they are perfect for your holidays.
Yep.
This first holiday where if you're going to broach seeing people, or if you just want to send them a Thanksgiving treat because you're not going to see them, they're so cute.
For anybody that listens to the podcast, you can have a special hint that there's also maybe some winter / Christmas things coming too.
Maybe.
Maybe. I don't know. Who knows? I don't know anything.
Yeah. Anyways.
Don't tell anybody.
You deserve a treat if you're listening.
Yeah. You get a special little bonus.
Yeah, so I think at this point we've probably all finished 50 masks because I don't know that we had done our masks yet. Or we were just
we did 2 batches of 25 each. So
yeah, we were hustling to do the first Halloween batch when we recorded last month. And so
at this point
we've all finished 50 masks plus, right?
Oh yeah, each.
Yeah, this month.
I really, really, really like our new mask pattern, and I made.
It's the first pattern that I have made extra just for my family out of my stuff.
I make them for everybody now.
I like what we did to start because it suited what was available to
effective,
us. Exactly, and it got it out there. But I like wearing this mask because it does it's a low fog mask.
Yes.
So
fog resistant.
Fog resistant is perfect. It doesn't fog my glasses as easily as regular masks do, but it doesn't have metal over my nose because my nose was starting to get kind of sensitive to the metal. So I'm loving it. I'm loving it.
Well, and sometimes the metal overuse breaks.
Yeah,
and especially with a lot of washing, it gets all bent out of shape. And stuff.
Yeah, so this is one step we don't even have to put in, and yet I feel like it is more fog resistant without the metal, just because of the design.
A little tighter, like a little closer to the nose.
But it's very, very comfortable. Yeah. So I could wear this for hours.
Not getting out. If the fog's not fogging your glasses, that's respiration that's not leaving your personal space. There you
go. I set some of my stash fabric so I can have I can make a different mask for each day that I'm working at the polls.
Oh, that's fun. Maybe you should post those on Instagram, I want to see those.
Oh, that would be cute.
Yeah.
I was looking in my purse for something the other day, and I'll have a little scrap of fabric. I'm like, I'm gonna make myself. I have 14 masks in my purse. I'm like, this is ridiculous. I keep pulling out another one. I'm like, what the hell's wrong with me?
It just means that you haven't thrown them in the wash, so you can throw them in between. Because we do need more than one mask.
Yes. So the string, the tie ones weren't as convenient at work. So as soon as we could have the surgical style, I was wearing those at work. But I've switched to these because they're so comfortable and they're easy to put on. So I made a whole batch of ones just for work. and they're black.
That's appropriate.
They're cute. Like one is a black fabric with like these little gold studs.
Okay.
It's really cute. I made 4 of those because a quarter yard you can kind of cheat and get 4
right
out of it. Yep. And then I wasn't careful with this other quarter yard, and so 2 of them are the right size, and they're just this cute like crosshatch gingham sort of thing. And then the other 2, I put a center panel of other fabric because I was like 2 inches short the way I got it. I just wasn't.
Okay,
I
saw that
paying
one,
attention.
but it looked totally on purpose.
Okay, so now I'm going to show you this one that was Kevin's idea.
Okay.
There's a comic I love, War and Peas, and it's usually this like she does a lot of hilarious commentary, but it's very wry. But it's usually like this funny girl witch who is running around being a modern witch in the world, dating, etc. And she has this cartoon where everybody's been posting their jack-o'-lanterns, and it's this adorable little pumpkin on the shelf, and the pumpkin says, "I can't wait to be bought and go home and become a terrifying jack-o'-lantern." And then somebody puts him in the cart, and the next one he's like, "Ooh." And the last one is someone has carved a really silly, like the simplest little dumb grin with one tooth and big cute eyes. And the pumpkin says, "Damn." So Kevin said one day after trying this new mask style, he's like, "I need a plain orange one immediately."
Oh my god, so you can look like a jack-o'-lantern.
Look, it's an adorable jack-o'-lantern
Mirabella
face.
Actually, sorry for the muffle, but I put it on to show Katie and Karin.
So
the nose of the jack-o'-lantern's on my nose, and it's the smile with one tooth.
Very cute.
They wanted scarier jack-o'-lanterns, and Mirabella did a kitty face one, of course.
We carved jack-o'-lanterns last night, and that's like classic is I can't make a scary pumpkin to save my life. They always turn out cute, and I'll try, and I'll be like, I'm gonna do something, and now I just lean into it. So I carved an adorable kitty cat last night, and James made a classic scary pumpkin. So I get it.
Be true to yourself.
Yeah, Bella and I are one and the same.
Yeah, she's very funny. Very cute, very funny. She drew my pumpkin in the style of the War and Peas jack-o'-lantern.
Aww. That's awesome.
For me. So, yeah, Kevin has been a big hit at school. I did do something different with his elastic, because he was like, I like the tie ones because he'll take the top tie and then put it down. So if he needs to take it down when he's teaching or whatever. So I put one continuous piece of elastic through so it goes around the back of his head instead of over his ears.
I have an elastic hack for you guys.
Tell us.
It doesn't work with the flat elastic like these masks, but I had like thin like cord elastic that I got at Michael's, or I don't know where I got it. And I cut it a little extra long, and then I tie a fisherman's knot, but it's not called that. What is it called?
Where they
like a magic knot.
Okay.
So you can pull the knots apart. So I tied the two ends together so you can adjust it by pulling the little knots apart.
Slidey bracelet.
I didn't do it on purpose, but I tried it on and I was like, oh, look at how smart I am.
Oh my god, you're smart.
So if I make the masks for
Katie.
other people, like my dad wanted one, and I don't know how big my dad's head is, so I have just made it extra long, and then I showed him like you could pull on it and adjust it. So there you go.
That is really
Maybe
clever.
that's our next batch.
Our
We invest
when
in
we buy
round
500 yards of round
elastic.
But we gotta get through the flat elastic we have right now.
Yeah, the round elastic can fit better on your ear, because that was something I was having trouble with. I wanted black elastic for the work ones. And
oh yeah, you got orange elastic.
I did. Fabric Town has color elastic.
Wow,
Good
clever.
But when I was buying the elastic, I was at Joann's and they only had 3/8 inch, and I'm like, what's an eighth of an inch?
Oh,
on
makes
an
a
ear?
big difference.
Yeah.
And it doesn't.
Oh, hello. If you can hear a car horn, sorry about that.
Yeah.
Scared the poop out of me.
It's just part of our spooky episode.
It's a ghost.
Or a car thief.
I guess that's
got nothing to contribute to that. That's just too funny.
Equally scary, right? So it doesn't stretch as easily. So like the same measurement of elastic, it's like pulling my ears down. So I'm gonna replace it with different elastic, which is the cool thing about this new style, is it's easy to replace the elastic.
Exactly.
I'm having a hard time cutting the elastic out though, because I don't know what else I'll use these short pieces of elastic for. So I did finish 29 sewn Empower People cowls.
Yikes.
Thank you for making one, because I saw yours on the table. I'm like, oh, that is very cute. And it looks, the sewn one is fast and easy.
Yeah. I was a little confused by the pattern at first, and I made Karin come in and talk me through it, because I was like, do I line it up here? Do I cut this, or do I not? And then we figured it out. So it took me a second.
Right. I did have to read it carefully. I will make a confession. I tried to cheat. You need to follow this pattern. Like, once you figure out where the pattern piece cuts. But so I bought 24 inches, or 2/3 yards of several different cotton fabrics. And I was like, come on, I want to get 2 out of each of these. It was such a waste. So I tried a 22-inch triangle. Great way to make a child size.
Yeah.
So if you want a child size,
22-inch
do 22-inch squares. Yeah, that's what I meant. But the pattern piece doesn't work so good.
Right.
So I did 2 or 3 that way. I actually finished 2, and I'm like, these are way too scrunchy.
Aren't you glad you didn't just cut all of it?
Right. And then I had already cut like 5 that way. So
this is the best happy accident I've ever seen.
Then I don't have them here, so you just have to listen. I have one. I kept one. So I have realizing I was going to have these 20-inch pieces now. I sacrificed some of the fabrics, and I cut 4.5 inch strips.
I was curious if that was pieced or if it was a fabric that you had in the picture.
That the fabric did that.
Yeah.
So I did. It took me all week. I kept talking about it on my Instagram that I was going to go downtown and I was going to pass out these. I kept 4 back, so I had 25 to pass out.
That's awesome.
Because I gave Mirabella the 2 little ones. And I showed her about the brilliance of a headscarf. Go 90s.
Yes.
I'm like, this is what you do when you don't want to brush your hair. Which is her.
Yeah, it's stylish.
That's great for a kid.
Okay. Yeah. So I had 16 fabrics, and I was imagining I would get 32 out of it. I ended up with 29 by adding
pretty
strips.
Close.
The ones that I had already stupidly cut, I added 1-inch strips on all 4 edges. And that looked adorable. And then the very last piece of fabric, I had 15 inches. So I scrounged up all the other trimmings from these, and I put together this pieced one where 9 inches.
And it's got a little pop of magic on the back side,
so if I wanted mostly solid, I would have this secret little pieced piece in the back. And I really like it. So I bagged up all 25 I was giving away. I made a little half sheet that I borrowed the little Empower People
to talk about it, so people knew what it's about.
And then I used their wording from their homepage, and I put the website on there, and I packaged them up. Some of them have my business card in there because if people like it and they want to find us.
That's awesome.
I don't have a problem with that. And also, like, I don't have the exact quote, but one of Brene Brown's principles is that you shouldn't go out and anonymously give out your opinions.
Right. That
you should have you should stand by what you say and what you put in the public. And so I was trying to look for like a inobtrusive way to own my action. So like 6 of them don't have the business cards because I ran out. What was in my purse. But I was really nervous about doing this.
Yeah.
Because who am I and what am I,
Right.
But I also have this, like, feeling in my heart of, like, why is this movement not catching on the same way the Pink Cat did? And I did temper that we just tonight finished our 3-week make-along, and we brought our community who wanted to along, and some of them knew about it already,
right?
And it was just fun community, and some of them learned about it. So like, if you help one, you help the world, right?
Yeah.
But still, why is it not catching on?
Yeah.
Like the pink wildfire did.
Yeah.
And I think this movement of Empower People is a more like, it's more about creating a coalition of everybody's needs. And
yeah.
The Pink Hat was reactionary.
Yeah.
And
it was. I mean, I don't know. I don't want to get into. I don't want to get bogged down by that. But I still like my pink hat. But I'm really energized by Empower People.
So
and what they stand for and what they put out in the world. I want to be a part of that. I want to wear that in public.
Were you able to give them out then?
So, I pep talk myself every day since
Mm-hmm.
I was going to do it Sunday, and I'm like, oh no, not Sunday. And then I
It
was going
is
to do it on Monday.
It is really hard to get
It's
the courage to just get out and speak up.
Not Monday. So finally, this tonight our recording was the like penultimate of like you got to get out and do it.
I have to do it by
So I use my adorable 9-year-old daughter as my shield.
Nice.
She's very cute.
That's what you have kids for.
And we actually don't do as much community activism as like my parents had us out doing in their Catholic way. So I was like, do you want to go do this? It'll be like reverse trick-or-treating, and we'll go out and...
I love that, reverse trick-or-treating.
Yeah, because we're not trick-or-treating this year, and I love trick-or-treating, and the thing I love about trick-or-treating is the openness and generosity of it all. And so I was like, how am I going to do this, though? How am I going to approach people? So I decided that we would ask women, if they were registered to vote, and if they said yes, we'd say, we have a gift for you. Some people would say, yeah, I'm registered, but I already voted. Great. Yay. I have a present for you. I'm registered. One girl was 17. We gave it to her.
Yeah.
Like,
awesome.
Are you going to vote next year? She's like, I'm pre-registered. Get it, girl.
I feel bad for the people who are turning 18 in like December.
Oh,
you know,
I'm going to vote no on the 17-year-old voters, though.
Yeah, no. I'm not saying we're going to change it. I just feel bad.
Yeah, I do too. And I love that she's pre-registered because that's
amazing.
That kind of energy.
She's doing as much as she can.
Right. And that's what, women's right to vote and celebrating the suffragettes. And yeah. Anyway, so Mirabella was like running to people and she's like screaming from 10 feet away. And I'm like, let's walk up to people.
Let's not harass them.
So it was most everyone I tried to aim for like a wide variety of women. One lady was wearing a great RBG mask, and Bella was like, because we're talking through our masks, and she's already a little hard to understand. She's like, what? She's like, are you registered to vote? And it's still a little muddled. And I'm like, I know this lady is registered to vote.
She's definitely registered.
Yeah.
And she was one of the sweetest. And when, like, some people are like, no, I don't want what you're selling.
Yeah.
One lady...
That's like default.
Yeah.
It's like, no, I don't want... Oh, okay.
Well, they answered, like, both of the people or groups of people who weren't warm and fuzzy, which is really, it was only, like, 2 people.
Yeah.
Maybe 3 total. One lady I think was like really sweet, but she was so sweet I'm afraid she threw it on the ground.
Oh no.
No, I don't think she did, but that's like my fear.
Right.
I was so scared of that we got to Palm in Maine. So if you know downtown Ventura, if you don't, imagine the most steep street in your neighborhood.
You're afraid to drive up
that. That literally Kevin's car tried to roll back down.
Yeah, I've been there.
He had a car that only ever like fired on 2 cylinders.
We got stuck at the top of the hill in the rain once and started just spinning our tires, and I'm like, oh my god.
It's thrilling. It's the best ride you're gonna
don't drive up Palm in the rain.
Yeah. In almost any car.
Yeah, no, it was like a 4-wheel drive truck.
Yeah. So I was like, Mirabella, would you mind if we walked up Palm? And because I'm just afraid I don't want to see that people didn't take them. So
you don't want to walk back.
I don't want to walk on Main Street right now. I'm just not ready for that. And I'm also hoping, like, if you're in Ventura and you found one abandoned with my card, you can keep it or you can bring it. You can send it back to me. That's fine. But my ego, like, I don't have a very, like, I'm usually willing to put myself out there.
Sure.
Yeah.
But I found myself very fragile about going out and doing this.
It's a scary thing to do.
Yeah.
Especially since you're not an official anybody. You don't have a booth. You don't have, you're just a person.
Yeah. So, but it was fun. And we had a good time. Like, I took Mirabella out and I marched with her in the Women's March. And I took her out to do this, and I'm glad we did it. And I told her,
did something.
Yeah, I mean, I told her, like, I really need your help to feel brave about this. And she's like, okay, let's do it.
And you're setting a good example for her when she grows up, too. Because I was just thinking about this the other day, that we didn't do anything really like that when I was a kid, and I was thinking about, people who I have in my life that inspire me, or women in my life that inspire me. And my mom inspires me for this reason and that reason. I have 2 amazing aunts who, I have more than two aunts, but
yeah.
I have two amazing aunts that
And
inspire me in
only two of
different
them
ways.
are amazing.
That's not true.
I'm trying to start a fight. Okay.
But I was thinking about like being an inspiration as a person, and I don't have children, but I have two nieces.
And don't forget your nephew.
No, yeah, no.
Like,
I feel that responsibility as an aunt, even though it's not technically my responsibility. But to be an inspiration for someone.
I'm so glad you because that's part of like the way you can express love to them is remembering your responsibility to them.
Right. And just living in a way that is an example, you know, not necessarily that I talk to them all the time about this and that, but just
But that's not how kids necessarily learn. Right. I think like sometimes you have to have those didactic lessons, but what they see and absorb about how you are or how you react or what they see that you value, those are the ways that the kids are learning. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, no, I
So
don't have anywhere to go in this except
that's awesome.
that I was thinking about that. So I applaud you for what you did.
I was scary, and I really wanted to, like, I set that challenge to myself. I kept saying it publicly, and I wanted to sit down and be able to tell you guys a great story tonight.
If it was me, I would have made them all, and then they would have lived in my car, and I would have gotten scared.
It was so close, Katie. It was so close to because every day I kept making excuses of, like,
I got too many things to do.
Maybe I could just leave them in a basket somewhere. Maybe I could just drop them off on women's doorsteps.
No, I'm proud of you for following through.
Throw them out my window, my car window, and frisbee them at people.
But
wait, I want to redo. I want to do that.
But then But then the commitment for why you made it would not have been fulfilled.
Yeah. And I talked to like several 25 strangers. A couple men in there who were lovely. One man wanted one, and I gave him one.
That's excellent. And
because he and his friend were like so energetic, and they were two of the first people we talked to. And I'm like, would you wear one? He's like, hell yeah, I would.
That's
I'm
awesome.
like, there you go. And then the lady with the RBG mask, I asked her male companion, and he's like, I'm like, don't feel bad if your answer's no. It's like, I do not think that I would wear that.
There you go.
Like, okay. No problem. She wanted to know when we met. I'm like, well, I don't think this thing is like at meeting stage. But you know, it's part of our textile arts studio, so I hope she had one with a card. So I had a great night doing that. So truly, that part of this project is finished for me.
Nice.
And we'll see where we are if we need to continue giving them out. I thought it might be a cool, because if it's really about women's votes, and
it's kind of an ongoing thing,
right? Wouldn't it be fun to like make a ton of them and have a voter registration booth?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know when or where or how, because you know, things amplify for me, and then either they happen in the big scary way that I'm daydreaming about them, or they sit in the car forever.
Yep. Sounded like a great idea at the time.
Right. And then I finished Rattlesnake.
Oh, it's fantastic. So
I did finish,
and it's even blocked. Dang.
Because I think most of the sweaters I finished this year, I have not blocked.
Well, that one probably needed it.
Yeah, it did.
Yeah, I have a stack of amazing. Almost accomplished.
I'm so happy with it.
Things.
I think this might be the 10th sweater of the year.
That's awesome.
Ooh, and the 10th month.
Oh, yeah. And
you're completing my challenge for me. My 12 sweaters in 2020 that went.
Well, I
have time for two more.
12 in like 2021, because it's like a
1 2 2 1. Oh, it looks so good too.
And I wish you guys could see this. I did get really nervous about how the fingering was blocking. But when it dried, it looked fine. Because it got very flimsy.
Yeah, it does that. And then it dries and it fluffs up a little bit more.
Up just the way I wanted it to. It's perfect. I'm so happy with this.
You need to wear it with like a little, like a denim skirt and cowboy boots.
Yeah.
Not that I see you wearing
that's
that,
adorable. Like, that's a great idea.
Absolutely.
I have like a lot of ideas in mind about how to wear this, but it's not today.
And we're finally getting into that kind of weather.
It is cold outside, but I am not cold.
No. It was lovely and 49 degrees this morning.
I also finished 2 more twirly skirts, because that's what Maribella and I are wearing on Halloween. I actually wanted us to wear our twirly skirts while we did this, but she did not understand through the earphones listening to YouTube this morning that we were going to change into our twirly skirts, and we have matching pumpkin shirts. Our twirl skirts do not match. She was a little annoyed about that. But we do have matching snag tights that are orange with black skulls all over them.
Cute.
Oh, fun.
She's also mad that I did not buy these shoes for us because all we're going to do on Halloween is sit in a hotel room
Yes.
and watch scary movies.
So you don't need the shoes.
So the shoes cost $70 each. They're from this
Ooh.
company called Hot Chocolate Designs. You should check them
$70
out.
for a pair of shoes for a child
Right.
is a bad
Yeah.
idea.
So they started where I was like entertaining the idea with these black shoes that had like a scary old fashioned ephemera kind of cat screeching.
Love it.
They are so cute. But those sold out faster than my paycheck came.
Oh, wow.
So I said no, because I could imagine her wearing those shoes all year or until
Right.
she grew out of them. So I was lightly entertaining that. But I don't think I'd spend $70 on a pair of shoes for me.
Right.
So, but then they came out with pumpkins.
Are
Orange.
they flats with like the thing on the toe?
Yes.
Because I've seen those.
Yeah.
They're very cute.
So cute. Orange, gray,
Mhm.
and purple. And then they kept showing them the smartest shoe marketers ever. That you could wear it mix and match. So you could wear
Right.
your purple pumpkin and your orange pumpkin.
Therefore, you could buy more than one pair
Right.
of shoes. Woohoo.
So I was really thinking about those, but thankfully her shoe size sold out first. So
Oh, good.
so we didn't do that. We didn't buy $70 shoes.
Have you finished all the things?
Those are
You
all the
finished?
things. I have finished all the things that I have finished.
Because that might be a good transition into our
Yes.
topic for today.
So, I thought it would be fun, even though I know that it is not Halloween time when you're listening, but I think it should be Halloween time all year.
Because
It's our spooky episode.
it's
yeah.
Halloween in her heart
Spooky.
all the year long.
Yeah, exactly. I thought it'd be fun to talk about our favorite Halloween makes. Karin is new to loving Halloween.
Yep.
But I love peer pressure when it works in the right place. I just want to say that. But you have made, I'm sure, so many things for your boys over the years.
Yes. So we used to. I learned to sew when I was a teenager, and that skill is a lifelong thing that I've loved. And so when we were homeschooling back when my kids were little, especially the younger they were, the cuter I could make these costumes.
Yeah.
There was one time where I had my littlest one was in kindergarten, and the two older ones were doing their work, and I took a T-shirt and some spare fabric, and I added sleeves. It was a black long sleeve T-shirt for my little one, and I took fabric and made extra sleeves, and I got the black pairs of 3 pairs of black gloves, and I used fishing line, and and I made the most adorable. Oh, and then I had red satin, that I made a little X, and he was a black widower.
Wait, did he still have
Cute.
his head? 'Cause...
Well, no, he was. I never thought about the gender part of it, which is interesting now. But my favorite, because we did everything. So whatever period of history, because we homeschooled, whatever period of history we were doing, I usually made costumes to go with that.
Sure.
Except, so one year though, we were really into Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit, and so I made a Frodo costume for my oldest son, and I got flip-flops, and I put faux fur on them, so
Yep.
he had furry feet.
hobbit
So he
feet.
had furry hobbit feet. And on the cape, I was trying to find, you can't find a mithril leaf
No.
so I took a rubber stamp that was a leaf shape, and then I took craft wire and I put craft wire on top of it, so it was a leaf clasp,
Mhm.
and I made his cape so that it would kind of blend in. So that was probably one of my favorite things, was his Frodo costume.
That's awesome.
See, you're such a meticulous world builder.
You
when
have to have
make
the
things.
details.
I'm surprised you don't love Halloween more, because the costume part.
Well, that was my favorite part, is the costume.
All right. Well,
Well,
that's the best part.
See, the tricky thing is, I didn't mind walking around because I had happy memories. I mean, in my day and age, you went around with a pillowcase.
Yeah.
Yeah.
and we filled that pillowcase.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And
Then
sometimes
you went home and dumped it.
you
and
dumped
then
it and
go
you went
ahead
back
again.
out. Yeah.
That's Mirabella is the
I lived in the
trick-or-treater
age
like
where the adults didn't. It was a simpler age, and as long as you were home by 9 o'clock, not that any of us had watches and knew, but usually by 9 o'clock,
well, the lights are going off anyway. The neighborhood's telling the kids to go home.
Go home. Well, also there's also the standard rule that I guess people don't abide by. If the porch light is not on, that's a universal signal that they are not participating.
Yeah.
They don't understand that, though.
No.
But you should, because that's what the naughty sex offenders are supposed to keep their lights off, so
Right.
don't go up there. Not that everyone with their lights off.
But my
is
oldest actually hated walking around because he doesn't like anything scary. He still doesn't like anything scary. And walking up to a house and having something go, whoa, at you.
No, I only went to the houses that were like brightly lit and friendly, and my brother would go to any of them, but I'm like, nope, there's a werewolf sitting on the porch. I'm not going up there. Because one time it was like a dad in a costume that would scare the kids, and I was like, I'm ruined forever. I'm never going
okay. I'm gonna save that story, which I might have told last year. For just in case I don't have a scary spooky
for next
story. Because I have a really good one for that. But on the note of like children getting terrified, Alexander also does. He's my oldest. He does not like scary things either. And we went 1, 2, 3, like 4 or 5 houses down when he was 3, and the year before he was 2 and he was Blue's Clues. It was so cute. We trained every day. Like, we walked 1 block further every day.
Oh, wow. You're good.
Or maybe it was each week we added in October. I might have even started in September. And he went all night, and he got such a bag of candy.
Yes.
And then the next year, he was dressed as a little sheriff. My brother had given me one of his sheriff's uniforms, and I dissected it into a little sheriff costume. And we walked 5 houses down. And I think the family was looking forward to him coming down. She had like a little walking it hand that charged at him.
Oh
no! He ran home to Grandma's house so fast. I did get him to go back out about an hour later. I'm like, you want to go to your uncle's neighborhood, which goes all out for every holiday. It's the hot neighborhood to be anywhere, anytime. And then we had an amazing time trick or treating. But he would not go.
Yeah.
And I think the next year he's like, we're skipping that house.
James and I, not this year, but previous years, we do like a haunted house in the garage, or we set up like a walk-through
Can't
thing.
stand haunted houses.
No.
So
we're conscious of, because I don't like scaring little kids, because I don't think that's funny.
That's just
but
mean.
I love scaring teenagers.
If they're your little kids, it's kind of
but
funny.
not stranger little kids.
No.
So, like, in the haunted house, there's nothing that will, like, jump out at you. Like, there's nothing that really moves. It's just, like, spooky stuff you can look at. And so we always tell the kids, like, I promise it's okay. Like, the little ones that are scared. I'm like, you go with your dad, whatever. Nothing's going to jump out, I promise. But the ones that are most afraid are, like, the 14-year-old girls. So we don't have anything in the haunted house that will, like, pop out and scare them, except that my brother likes to stand at the exit and, like, just scream at people when they come out. So he'll be like, oh, teenage girls are coming, and he'll stand at the end just to scare the crap out of them. So,
keep it simple.
Yeah, so we don't like scare. I don't like scaring the little kids because they're so cute in their little costumes, but the teenagers deserve to be scared. So
absolutely, you know why? Okay.
Because you know why?
You know why?
Do we have time for that? Why you should scare teenagers?
I have the year that I realized that teenage people walking around are not fun. It was right after my second child was born. I was in my house. The lights were off. I'm trying to nurse my baby, and they were banging on my door saying, "We know you're in there. Give us candy."
Oh, you little turd!
I'm like thinking, how stupid are you? You think I'm gonna open?
You should have opened the door breastfeeding, because that is not the kind of food they want to see.
Oh my god!
It would have taught them a lesson.
Oh my gosh, that would be like the scary house.
It takes a village. Next year, you're like, why are there no trick-or-treaters this year?
Because that crazy woman opened the door and bared her breast with a baby on it.
Oh my god.
Oh, that's hysterical. Well, you know what? Of course, he'd probably be super embarrassed. He's 25 now, so.
Yeah, teenagers are not to be trusted.
No.
That reminds me of
if
my
you're
favorite...
a teenager and you dress up, I welcome you at my door. My husband will still want to give you raisins.
I'm surprised that James has not gotten TP'd or egged in the past, because anybody that, like, teenagers that come up in, like, some sort of costume, he's always like, what are you? And they're like, I'm a skateboarder or whatever, and he's like, no, get out of here. Like, he'll tell them no and leave.
He won't give them anything.
Quit pissing off the teenagers. They're gonna come back and egg our house, which has never happened, so... Knock on wood.
However,
you must have some Halloween authority.
However,
apparently,
the teenage big brothers or sisters that are walking their younger siblings,
you can have candy.
That's awesome. I give them candy.
Yep.
Because it's not about them. They're there enhancing their siblings' experience.
Yep.
My favorite is last year's little girl. She had a great witch costume, and she was somewhere in the ages between Dante and Mirabella. So she was like 10 or 11 probably. And I said, your costume is great. I love it. She's like, I will spare your soul.
And then it's like, have all my candy.
Yeah. Like, completely in character. She's my favorite.
Awesome.
I love her. I hope she's in my hood and that my children meet her soon when it's safe.
Quick question. Favorite candy of Halloween?
Oh, that's a good diversion.
We just had this
to give out or to receive.
Oh, that's it's good that you put modifiers on there, because I asked my children that, because we're gonna make them little goodie bags, and I asked my eldest, and he said, I asked, what is your favorite Halloween candy, with meaning the modifiers you just gave, like what do you like to find in your candy bag was what I meant. He's like, I don't know, candy corn, and I'm like, candy corn is your favorite candy? I do know someone who it is. Yeah. He eats it all year long.
I don't like that person.
Yeah.
Can't be trusted.
You and I both don't like candy corn?
I hate candy corn.
I like it in moderation.
I like the ones that you get in the autumn mix that are like the chocolate, like the brown ones, like the little pumpkins. Those I don't mind. But
I haven't seen those. Oh, yes. I see what you mean. Yes, they're different than
a bag of candy corn. It is mixed flavors. It's like pie flavors. I haven't tried it yet.
Weird.
What a waste of time it would have been.
Yeah, no, I don't like candy corn.
Well, no, if they're not if they don't taste like candy corn, if they taste like something better than candy corn.
See, I actually get tired of the texture before I get tired of
that.
The
it's
flavor.
Like grainy
triangles.
And squishy.
It is a grainy. It's like the sugar's not fully.
So anyway, I was confused because I was learning something new about him. Known him for 20 years or so, and I didn't know that he liked candy corn as his favorite Halloween candy, and I questioned it, and he's like, you said Halloween style candy.
Oh.
I like Reese's peanut butter cups.
Reese's
then.
peanut butter cups is number one.
Yeah.
If we're talking
okay, now we're right.
Things that I'm excited to find in my
Snickers snack size.
Right.
Oh, Snickers are good. There's certain candy that only shows up at Halloween time for some reason. Like, I never eat a Tootsie Roll Pop except for on Halloween. And they're amazing. So I found at Winco you can buy them in bulk. Yeah. So you can just go through and pick out the flavors that you want. Yeah. So I'm going to vote for Tootsie Roll Pop. All right.
Kevin does a lab, not this year, but every Halloween.
How many licks?
Depending, how many licks. And it's a lab, and you have to, like, really participate and collect data.
I'm the owl. I cannot stand to just lick something forever. I am literally 1-2 crunch. Yeah. Lollipops, anything like that. I'm the owl. It takes 3 licks to get to the center of the Tootsie Roll Tootsie Pop for me.
Let's circle back to our topic.
Yeah,
let's finish this one really quick. This mini topic, because it was give or receive. So you have said Tootsie Pops
is my favorite to get.
Yeah, yours is Fun Size Snickers.
To me, yes, true. I will buy candy specifically to put in the bowl, but I'll put it at the very bottom because I want that left over. And I'll say,
I can dig to the bottom of a bowl.
We're out of candy.
Okay, but we hand the candy out.
There's a submarine to the bottom.
We hand the candy out. We don't let them pick their own.
Oh yeah,
no, Katie. Slappy slap. Almond Joy.
Yeah, I don't like coconut.
Which Kevin is. I love coconut. Kevin's like, that's such a mom candy.
You know what I love? Nobody else does? Dots. Does anybody else?
Love dots.
I love dots.
Yeah,
okay,
that's why we're partners.
In my life is like, dots are gross. I'm
that's
like, they're delicious, and you
they're
only
delicious.
get them at Halloween.
That's where I thought you were going with the candies that show up only at Halloween.
Because they're kind of like if I remember right, dots are like
they're like
jelly
gumdrops,
beans.
but they're not.
Gumdrops just a little harder on the
They're
outside.
not. They're like gumdrops, but they're not like coated in the sugar.
Yeah.
They're just chewy and delicious.
It's just the center.
wonderful.
It's the centers of the jelly bean.
I love dots.
Yeah, that's a fair way to describe it.
But bigger.
But better.
Yeah, bigger and better.
They're kind of more like gummy, like.
But firmer than gummy.
Yes.
Yeah. Anyway.
So to give is the same. I look for a bag of candy that has all of our favorites.
Oh,
so
yeah.
like Belle likes Kit Kat and some Whoppers. I like Almond Joys. Alexander is with the Reese's. We all like the Reese's.
Mm-hmm.
I have some real strong opinions about peanut butter to chocolate ratio. They actually do make a peanut butter lovers Reese's now. Good. So I buy a bag that we will eat.
It's well represented.
Leftovers.
Yeah.
Or we will open early and have a little of ourselves.
We had one year where we forgot that we still had a bag, and so, and we didn't discover it till the next year.
Did you give that candy out?
We did. It was
Okay.
good.
Great.
It still it was still within the expiration,
Oh, that's good.
We're not.
and it wasn't chocolate. So
No, that's fine. We're not handing out candy this year.
No.
So I bought the little snack size Ziploc bags, like the little tiny ones, and we had a treat bag making party where I just dumped all this candy on the table, and I made 150 because I remember I had 180 Ziploc bags.
wow.
So each one has like 3 or 4 pieces of candy in it, and we're gonna put out a little bowl and fill it up and put it out on like a little table on the porch or whatever. It says take one per and help people follow the rules, but we're gonna like just put out a little bit at a time, and when we see it's empty, we'll go put out more so that not one person ends up with a giant thing of candy.
Nice.
So that's our plan this year.
That's good. I'm thinking about I'd like to boo my neighbors that have decorated. Because I love Halloween. I appreciate that they're decorated, but we're not going around.
Yeah, no, we're not trick or treating. We're gonna have like the kids
Booing
over
is giving
and
out treats that you surprise people with on their
Oh,
porch.
I thought you were literally going boo.
No, I want
We'll have a little bag of treats on their porch.
Yeah, a boo is a treat bag that you surprise people with.
Oh,
I
so-
doubt that I'm going to actually get to it, but I want to.
Halloween is 2 days from now.
Yeah, they're not going to take down their decorations
Sure.
by Tuesday. You know.
I was trying to think of things that I have made for Halloween, and because we have this party every year, I end up making the same like food every year, or most of the same food. So there's always a spooky cake, which is usually one year I made like a black, well it was like chocolate, but I dyed it black, bundt cake, and then you
Ooh, it's
melt
hard to get enough
marshmallows.
black dye in there.
Well, it was already like a devil's food cake, so I used the gel food coloring, so it was pretty dark brown. It was almost black. And then I found this thing where you melt marshmallows, and you stick your hand in the marshmallows when they're melted, and you stretch it apart, and you get all these strings, and then you sort of wrap those strings around the cake to make it look like spider webs. So you stick your hands in the bowl of marshmallows, spread it apart to make webs, and then wrap it around the cake. So it was like a black cake. It was amazing. It was a black cake with spider webs on it, and I remember that one was a big hit. But there's always a spooky cake of some sort, which I haven't figured out my menu this year yet, so I'm gonna have to do that tomorrow. But and then we make chocolate dipped pretzel rods are always a big hit.
Yes.
So we make those, and then I put like Halloween sprinkles on them.
I'm writing that down.
It's a very fast and effective snack that everybody likes.
Dip it and then just roll it in the Halloween sprinkles.
Yeah, or just sprinkle them on top.
Just sprinkle them.
It's an easy thing. My aunt makes lady fingers. That's what she calls them, but they're basically like soft pretzels, and then she takes like a almond and sticks it in the tip of it and
So it
paints
looks like
it red with red food coloring, so it looks like a fingernail.
I've seen like different, like that recipe probably and different other recipes, and they can get like horribly wrong.
Yeah, no, these are like pretty tame looking, but so I like those. But then I was remembering that last year I knit my pumpkin sweater, my jack-o'-lantern sweater.
I was hoping that would make your list.
I wore it for a couple hours a couple days ago, so I did get to wear it this year.
Yay!
But I don't plan my costumes that far in advance because I kind of just wait for inspiration to strike me, and sometimes it's like, it's 2 days before, I better get some inspiration soon. So I'm usually making a costume.
Yeah, I have a rule that I'm still making it the last week.
Mm-hmm.
It depends on how my month is going. So I have gotten better over the years where I can actually budget my time. What?
I just finished putting together my costume today.
So I have a rule that you have to tell me by October 1st. Because also there's no like, oh, now I want to be this. No.
That's totally reasonable.
I'm remembering I did enjoy the year that we were 3 sheep. That was really cute.
That was fun.
And then I reused that the next year as a unicorn.
It was a good basic.
It was, yeah. It's still around, my white furry dress.
I was thinking of making the white furry into a cat cave.
That would be perfect.
You could probably just fold it in on itself and then done. So next month I want you to report back that you finished a cat cave.
It'll be a Christmas present for my cat.
Yeah. So my favorite Halloween make is because I love costumes. I make them every year. When Dante would have been like 2 and Alexander would have been, gosh, I don't even think Dante was 2 yet, because Alexander was like 8 or 9. He maybe was 9. Alexander's favorite color is red, so he had me turn them both into T-Rexes.
Cute.
Red, shiny T-Rexes.
Love it.
It was amazing. And then were they dragons or T-Rexes? I think they were meant to be T-Rexes. That costume, the bigger one, got recycled several years later when Dante had me buy him a realistic T-Rex latex mask.
Okay.
And then he repainted it like a mottled green and brown to match the mask, and he was a T-Rex.
Cute.
But before he had it finished, he was a devil. So that the larger T-Rex made it through several years. The next year, Alexander was a Sith Lord.
Oh.
And Dante...
With makeup and all?
No. Dante was Cookie Monster. So his 3-year-old is Cookie Monster, and he was so cute.
Yeah.
And we went trick-or-treating with our friends. He has a little buddy who's the same age as us, has been friends since babies. And they go up to this house together, and Kevin takes them up. And Dante comes back eating a cookie. And this lady was like, I just finished baking cookies, and I know you're not supposed to do this, but I just finished them. I have to give Cookie Monster a cookie. May I do that? And of course. Yeah. Sure.
Yeah.
So Dante's just like merrily walking back with a cookie.
That's so cute.
I think Owen got a cookie too.
I would hope so.
Yeah. But the T-Rexes were pretty great. They were so damn cute. Last year, I made a pumpkin afghan out of a doily, and the doily pattern
I remember that.
is called Jack in the Web,
Mm-hmm.
and I used the Lion Brown Thick and Quick, and it is like the most satisfying crochet project I ever made. And even though it's big and holy, it is very cozy.
Yeah.
I love it so much, and I used it all year long, as you might have guessed. And then, I think it was 2 years ago, I carved my first pumpkin.
Wow.
Because I don't usually do the pumpkin carving. And when I was a kid, I wasn't allowed to. Like, you tell Dad what you wanted, and he'd carve it. Yeah. And my mom never let us light the pumpkins because she was going to make pumpkin pie out of them, which she is a good pie maker, and she would make that taste good.
I do
but
separate.
You're not
I do
supposed to.
No, I do separate pumpkins for that.
Are not meant for baking.
But she would still make pumpkin pie.
I've made pumpkin pie from regular pumpkins.
Some of them are not good eating.
Yeah.
No, you have to add extra sugar, brown sugar.
She'd do a good job. Those pumpkin pies were good, but we weren't allowed to light
our
jack-o'-lantern.
I never have liked, when I was little, my dad would cut open the top and be like, okay, scoop it out, but I hate the feeling of the guts, and I know I'm weird because everybody's like, I love digging out the guts. No. I can't stand it.
No, I don't like it
either. It's makes your hands itchy. Feeling. It just, I hate it so much.
I love when it looks like it's puking its guts
out.
out.
Every year, Dante makes a barfkin. First Alexander did. Now Dante's like, okay, I'm making a barfkin.
We were carving pumpkins last night, and I was saying, James has 2 secret hidden, well, he has more, but 2 secret hidden talents that one of them is cleaning a pumpkin. He can gut and clean a pumpkin in no time. So he's always in charge of that.
That should make me a little scared of him.
I know,
right?
How
else can he apply that skill?
He'll I hand him my pumpkin, he cuts open the top, he hands me back a perfectly cleaned out pumpkin.
So
I'm like, I married you for a reason. And the other secret hidden talent he has is he can fit more strands of lights on a Christmas tree than you think is humanly possible. And you'll never see the cord. He's like a pro
for hiding the cord. That's good.
Those are some serious skills.
I know. They're very valuable.
I have a pre-lit fig tree.
Oh, we have one of those too.
That's how I roll. I mean, I love Christmas lights. I don't like Christmas decorations, but I do love Christmas lights. Yeah. I love Halloween.
Yep.
Those are my... So the first pumpkin I ever carved We were at a restaurant I love. I actually like their other restaurant better, but this one's tasty too. Is it 2486? It's over on Loma Vista.
Oh yeah, someone was telling me about that.
It's the same owners as Barrel House, and it's the address.
Yeah.
And I always want to be 2468. But
Right.
that's not right.
Who do we appreciate?
Right. So, but they have tasty, wholesome, yummy food. And 2 years ago, they hosted a pumpkin carving contest. And like, it was like a package deal. You bought like from the menu, and you got your pumpkin included and a pumpkin carving kit. And it was very fun.
That sounds fun.
It was very fun. And I carved my first pumpkin, and it had like triangle eyes and a smiley face.
Yep.
And it would have said, "Bam."
We used to, when the kids were little, the church we went to had a harvest party, and they had a pumpkin carving, and our neighbor and I were kind of competitive, and so I would paint I would carve landscapes, so that sometimes sometimes it was all the way through and sometimes it wasn't. And he would, every year we would get more and more competitive about what we could do on a pumpkin. Okay, who knew that it's a profession now?
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
There's
You missed your
professional
calling,
pumpkin
right?
carvers.
there are professional pumpkin carvers, and it's like, and then there's the people there's a show we've been watching, Pumpkin Wars.
I did not know.
Oh my gosh, it's okay. Do you remember Buffy the Vampire Slayer?
Yes.
The actress who played Allison, or her name's Allison, but she was Buffy's friend.
Yeah, I mean,
she's the
so much
host
more.
of this
I
show.
love her.
It's fantastic, and she looks and sounds exactly the same.
Well, if you watch How I Met Your Mother,
gonna say,
you've grown
she's
up
in
with
How I
her.
Met
and
Your Mother,
yeah,
right?
How I Met Your Mother, huh?
No, I was just saying she's in that show too.
Yep.
Son of a.
Yep. Anyway,
Lily. She's Lily.
Lily,
Yes.
that was
I
it.
found a countdown list that I really hated, which is why Lily is a bad friend. It's terrible.
What?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
I didn't watch that show. I also didn't watch Buffy.
So, but we're still friends.
I know. Sorry.
We have other things that are good for us.
I haven't watched a lot of shows. You'll find if you quiz me, I'm like, I haven't seen it. Yeah,
So,
I'm
that's
looking
good.
forward to. I mean, this Halloween's going to be different, obviously,
Yeah.
but it'll still be fun.
gonna be fun.
Just
so
different.
yeah, it's gonna be fun. We're gonna watch. Here's the movies that made our cut list for our
Nice.
Halloween hideaway. Clue,
Fun.
The Burbs, Arachnophobia, The New Witches.
Oh yeah, I'm
So
looking forward to that.
Haunted Mansion, and Death Becomes Her.
I love Death
Yeah.
Becomes
That
Her.
is so
That's
fun.
a quality movie.
I think the
it's
kids,
such a garbage movie, but
It
it's
is.
so good.
Yeah, it's the first time I ever met Isabella Rossellini.
Oh yeah,
and
she's
is
so good in that.
Yeah. I think we tried to pick ones they hadn't seen before.
Mm.
I'm afraid that I did make them watch The Burbs, but I can't quite remember if I was like, let's watch this, and
Right.
nobody
And
was
they
into
cared or not,
it.
yeah.
And then I watched it on my own later, maybe.
We have like
I love The
two that
Burbs,
we
though.
need to watch every year, and we've already watched Young Frankenstein, so that's like
Ah,
number one on the
classic.
list.
Classic.
They've
I
seen
love
that,
that
and that's
movie.
the reason it hasn't made
I haven't
the
watched
list,
Hocus Pocus yet, so I probably need to do
but
that.
They've seen Hocus Pocus.
Um,
I watched it recently and I didn't realize that one of the people that he's a young man in this movie. I've seen him on NCIS.
Oh, interesting.
So,
He hasn't done
the guy
much.
who
I'm
plays
glad he's doing
Timothy
stuff.
on NCIS, his character on NCIS is Timothy, but he is one of the main young characters.
Nice.
Is he
like-
Thackeray Binks?
He is Thackeray Binks.
Nice. I love that movie so much.
Yeah, I haven't watched it yet this year, so I need to.
I think we can move into obsessions.
Sure.
Karen, what are you obsessed with? She looks down at her to-do pile. I think we can guess. Is it rainbow scissors?
No.
Is it stitch markers?
I don't know that I'm obsessed with anything this month.
Oh, you
'Cause
look.
you
Your
do
eyes
that
went
every
right
month.
to
I
something.
see that. I couldn't think of anything.
You can
'cause
go last.
She's
You can
maybe
go
go last. I gotta look.
Did you
I
think
did
about
come
it?
up
Oh,
with-
great. Katie
Okay.
has good obsession.
So I'm a 32-year-old lady, and
Looking for love in all the wrong places.
no.
Hey, watch
Um,
that.
I have been seeing on the internet about these things called. You probably know because you have children. Squishmallows. Do you know what a squishmallow is?
No.
Okay. Well, you probably will.
Maybe I'll be like, oh, it's that.
They are stuffed animals. Like I
Mm.
said, I'm a 32-year-old lady. They come in different sizes, but they're basically like big pillows, and they look like animals. So
You can
I
get
have
it at
one.
Target, I see.
You can. I bought mine at Costco because they had big giant one. You can get them in any size. You get little tiny baby ones. I think the one I have is like 18 inches, so it's this big giant pillow, and I use it mostly as a pillow. I bought them, quote, for the kids to use when they spend the night at my house, but really they live on my bed and they're very comfy.
They'd get lonely otherwise.
Yeah. So I have a big giant orange kitty cat, and I have a big giant dragon. And they are just like the squishiest, softest things you've ever felt. Very huggable. I figured out why they're so nice and squishy is because they're not overstuffed on the inside, and also the fabric on the outside is super soft, but it's also stretchy, so you can like really mush them. And
that sounds nice.
So I bought them they have them at Costco.
What character did you get?
I don't know what their names are.
Oh.
They all have names, but I don't remember. Oh,
there's a baby
the dragon's
Yoda.
name is Duke. Oh, I was looking for Baby Yoda, but I couldn't find him. So I have
There's
Duke.
an avocado.
Yeah, they're really
wait.
cute.
Show the picture.
So
Aww.
I bought those two, and then I was at Winco, and they also had them at Winco. They don't anymore because I was there this week. They had Halloween ones at Winco, so I bought a black kitty cat and a black bat, and I gave them to my niece and nephew when they came over last week, and they loved them.
You're
so,
the best aunt.
I'm pretty sure that's what my other set of nieces and nephews are getting for their birthdays because they're very squishy. So I have to stop myself from when I see them wanting to buy more of them.
Can you just hug them and go? Like a run by hugging?
I mean, yeah, I'm not in the era of COVID. I probably wouldn't. But
fair enough.
The big giant ones at Costco, if you go probably this week, they still have them. They're only $10. So I would highly recommend it.
A very well priced.
If you bought the like official license, like they had Mickey Mouse and I think Baby Yoda, they were more expensive. But my kitty cat's adorable and I love him.
Oh, how fun.
So,
okay, thank you for exposing us to Squishmallows.
You're welcome.
Mirabella might know.
If you are listening and you have kids in your life, I'm sure they probably know them, or if you have grandkids, but if not, you will be a hit if you buy them some for the upcoming holiday season.
Oh, they have a Stitch? Oh, look at the Bumblebee.
Yeah, they have like official licensed ones, but then they also have just like generic characters. They're very cute. And like I said, they come in different sizes.
Dawn the Fawn?
Yep.
Sorry.
Damn it, so distracting. So that's what it's meant to do.
Yep.
My obsession this month may not surprise you. It's maybe more of a goal, but it has sent me down a wormhole. I have been fulfilling a Halloween movie watch list.
Every year I see those and I think, I'm going to do that.
I'm doing it for myself.
That's fun.
Just every night I am finding, because beginning of October, even for as exhausting and full as it was, the nights were a little boring.
Yeah.
So
doesn't it seem like September was a long time ago?
Yes.
But then you ask yourself, how did November get here?
Yeah. It's not here yet. For you
but,
listeners it is. Yeah. But stop it.
You know how you can like go on Pinterest and you see
it's
the like
almost
30-day
Christmas.
Like... No. You see the like 31-day like Halloween challenge and it's like crunch some leaves, dig a pumpkin, or like whatever.
See, I started there and they were not like satisfying.
So James and I every year like to look at them. So it'd be like, oh, today's the 21st. What are you supposed to do today? Oh, take a hayride. It's like, damn it, I didn't get to cross that off my list today.
So
that's a fun game to play.
How fun to like look at those lists and be like, damn, we didn't do that.
Yeah.
I love this very much.
But it's funny because sometimes it's like, watch a meteor shower. I'm like, how do you expect me to do that list? Like some of them are
like
really
YouTube.
reaching.
Check YouTube.
Okay, yeah, that would work.
So not like a real, because how do you control meteor shower?
Some of them are just kind of stupid.
It's like,
oh,
okay,
I didn't get to
cue the shower.
Today.
Can you imagine? It's like Tuesday afternoon.
And I'm bothered for apples.
Are you like setting it up for yourself, or are you like setting up for your family bubble? Right.
James gets home from work. I'm like, time to bob for apples. I did think that I wanted to get the kids to bob for apples this year on Halloween, just because I think it'd be really funny to watch.
I'm sure it would be funny. No, that's fine. That was brilliant. So yeah, every night I'm just hunting around, and there have been some real pieces of gold.
Yeah.
I started with Interview with a Vampire. And I have this little key for myself. I put like the brain emoji next to the ones I was like thinking about. So Hulu has done some good horror movies, like Ghosty. You could go have your pick of what you qualify as a scary movie. There's some very cerebral ones. So the ones that I have liked the best, I will tell you. There's one from Hulu called Treehouse, which was really about this like star chef and 5 witches who give him his just desserts because he is like an abuser and user of women. and
that sounds satisfying.
he gets like a good revenge. It's so good. This one called Vivarium, which I watched on Amazon Prime, I think. It has Jesse, the Social Network, Jesse Eisenberg.
Yeah.
And then a girl who had a really cute name, something like Ophelia Smoot or something.
Okay.
Like, I think Smoot is her last name. It was something like that. And they get stuck in this, like, living situation, raising a child.
I've seen the trailer for this.
It
looks
so
spooky.
Good.
Yeah, I've seen
it's
that.
So weird.
They just like
so disturbing
yeah.
and creepy.
I
like you
that.
feel icky the whole movie,
Mm-hmm.
and the resolution is like, oh, very like satirical.
Uh-huh.
The one I think I like the most of these 4 that have left me thinking is Midsummer.
Oh my god. That movie, I think Ari Aster just likes to torture his like moviegoers, because before I watch a scary movie, I don't do this for other movies, but scary movies, I'll like read the synopsis first and the plot, so I'm like, know what happens when I go into it. So I was like, James wanted to watch it, and I was like, okay, I read through the plot. I was like, I ain't watching this movie.
Oh,
I'm not watching
so
it.
good, Katie.
No, I'm not
so
watching
good.
it.
It is horror in the bright daylight.
Yeah.
It is. It's a remake, I'm pretty sure, of a 1970s movie, because I think I've read about like there's the the excellent horror movie exhibition at that museum in Seattle, the Museum of Pop Culture.
Mm-hmm.
They have a great and so anyway, I've read a synopsis of the original one in the past. I'm like, that sounds very interesting. And then here's this modern one.
Right.
Oh, I loved it. I'm still thinking about it days later.
Is Frances, is that her name? Pugh? The main girl?
That could very well be.
She's in the new Little Women too. She's great.
Yeah, I think that's right. Because I remember looking her up while I was watching.
I know her last name is Pugh.
Yeah.
That's the part I remember.
Well, because that was a teacher in my high school, so it stuck with me too. The Amaranth. And I think it might be from the same movie house. Like, anyway, this is about like a retirement village where people are living like a real long time.
Ooh.
And recovering from catastrophic health events.
Spooky.
And the help keeps going missing.
Oh.
And the resolution of it is so, I think, dark but yet spot on. Of like, you think you know where your like your morals lie, but where are you willing to bend your personal rules? It was really good.
Nice.
So I have tonight and 2 more nights to go. Yeah, I'm having a good time.
Nice.
Really, really fun. So I'm obsessed with horror movies again, which I wasn't for a long time.
I don't like scary movies. I like some scary movies. Like, I get the thrill of it, but it needs to be like a specific type of scary movie that I'm okay with. Like, I don't like anything that's like really psychological disturbing, and I don't mind gore too much, but it's like, it just has to be a really specific genre for me to like entertain watching it. So I don't watch a lot of scary movies. Yeah, but I like the kid versions of them. So I'll watch like
Hocus Pocus.
Like Hocus Pocus. Yeah.
Well, that's what the
Addams Family. That's my style.
I like all those too. Like I love it all. I love it all. But I've gotten, when I got to a certain age and like had a certain number of children, I stopped feeling the thrill of those like gory slashery ones. Like Saw just went too far.
Yeah, no, that's not for me.
Hostel went too far. Yeah, so I kind of got turned off on scary movies for a while. I think Get Out kind of brought me back to this kind of cerebral, like, everyday horror.
Yeah.
I exposed someone to Key and Peele today. I did my good deed for the day.
For
I
what?
haven't seen Get Out.
You know Key and Peele. I'm sure I've shown you. Can I get 2 people in one day?
No, probably not. If it's horror, I don't.
It's not horror. No, Key and Peele are like
comedy duo.
the best comedy.
Oh, I think you did tell me once.
Yeah, I'm sure I have. Because Jack Whalen is my favorite line of all their things. I was showing the Turbulence video, which if you have not seen is hilarious. And we watched it on silent. You do not need any sound for that video.
Okay.
It's like the perfect silent movie. They do a great job.
I have not watched Get Out yet, but that's on my list because I think I would enjoy it. It's like like Parasite.
I haven't watched Parasite yet, but I will.
And you have to watch it.
Because it's one
I
Kevin.
loved Parasite.
Kevin wants to watch it with me, and it's hard to...
It was last year.
Yeah,
I went to see
it was
it.
like renowned.
Oh, it's
It's the one that won the best picture.
I have not seen it yet, but I wanted to.
God, it's so good. See, that's like the kind of horror movie I like, where it's like suspenseful, a little bit creepy. I went to go see that in the theater by myself because James had already seen it. So I went in like the middle of the day down the street to the cheap theater, and I was still sitting there by myself, like, oh my god, what's gonna happen? It's so good.
I think Kevin and I will probably knock some off our list while we're on our little getaway this weekend.
It's an amazing movie.
In the night when the children are not watching. Because I also want to watch Us and Antebellum. Like Kevin has said, he wants to watch Antebellum with me. So
Antebellum was so good.
Oh, it looks so terrifying.
It is in a social way.
Yeah. Isn't that the scariest?
Well, I will. So yeah. It was so good. Yeah. That's all I'm saying.
Okay. Did you say your obsession? I'm done.
Okay. So I'm growing to like Halloween, but I will never grow to like the horror part of it. But it brings the question of what is horror to someone versus science fiction.
Sure.
So, for instance, I love all the seasons of Fringe, and finally,
and that's on the edge. Like that has that spooky.
Okay,
feel.
So I'm looking at stuff, and the guy's got his skin kind of peeled back, but that's just science to me. Mm-hmm. And my husband's like, when did you start liking horror? I'm like, that's not horror. That's just medical science.
You just like a specific genre.
But like you like American Horror Story, and that can be very gruesome.
That's very gruesome.
But I think you pull away from the more gruesome seasons.
Yeah, I don't really like but there's a difference when it's phenomenal. I had forgotten about the early seasons, so we started with the pilot, which was really long, and my husband doesn't like anything that's too cerebral, and to me, Fringe is kind of cerebral.
What's his face in it? How cerebral can it be, though?
Well, I figured there's a character my husband could love, right? He can like that character. And who doesn't love Walter?
Ensemble. I mean,
John Noble is an amazing actor.
He either plays the most lovable or the most
Which one are we talking about?
John Noble.
Oh yeah,
because he is in a very
he's
good actor.
and he's both in this in that series anyway. So
it's very dynamic.
I had been usually we watch. My husband chooses a lot of the programming, and he's like, "Well, you liked it, right?" I go, "Yeah, but I didn't choose it. I'd like to choose something that I like." And he's got this thing about, well, you've already seen it, so therefore he can't enjoy it. If someone else, I'm like, what does that have to do with anything? If I have to, you watch the same Christmas shows with the kids year after year. So anyway, so I've got him watching Fringe.
Good job.
But, and I could tell second episode he's not enjoying it because anything, he's just sitting there. I said, look, you got to give me 3 episodes. And I almost gave him an out. I said, yeah, I did give him an out. I go, I can see you're not into this. And it's not fun for me.
Yeah, but when do the time guys appear?
But by the third, not for several seasons in.
Oh, really?
But by the 3rd episode, he started getting into it because it wasn't as gruesome. He's like my oldest son.
If there's shock value in the beginning of the show to like grab watchers.
But if it has body function weirdness, my family's not into anything that's just gross to them. But anyway, so
delicate flowers.
So I'm happy we're watching Fringe again. That awesome. And Antebellum. I want to see it again.
Okay, I will take your.
It's not that I enjoyed it because it's not an enjoyable thing.
When we record our podcast, and I want reviews.
And I'm so sad because they're both serious social commentary movies.
They are. Yeah.
And I'm just broken. Maybe I won't be broken on the other side of November.
I'm knocking on wood.
I'm back into Walking Dead because I stopped for several seasons.
I don't think I'll ever be back. Negan ruined it.
They kind of started minimizing Negan. Negan's influence is there, but it's starting to wane in season 8. The people who are under him are starting to want their humanity back.
Because it takes me several days to give these movies a little brain emoji that I'm still thinking about. So one that might make it, but I just watched it last night. It's called Pie Wacket.
What?
It's this teenage girl who does like a black magic ritual and wishes that this witch will come and kill her mother because she's so angry,
right.
And Andrea, the girl who played Andrea, who is fantastic, was in it as the mother, and she's as good as ever. She was in a movie that I watched during this that I had thought was awful, but upon second watching is great. Silent Hill, which is based on a video game.
I hate that movie. I saw that movie on a date in high school with a guy that loved horror movies, and I didn't, and it's way too much of a horror movie.
It's very...
I was traumatized.
Yeah, it's just, it's all kinds of...
Don't like it.
Clearly, you broke the relationship. Didn't last much longer after that.
Probably.
Yeah, it's kind of like if anybody read Christopher Pike and the weird ways he'd like take you into other worlds, and that actress Andrea's in it.
Don't like it.
Yeah.
All right, well, we gotta wrap it up. We're reaching almost to the 2-hour mark, so
I tell you, we go long when it's late.
Yeah, I know. I need to be in bed. I hope you enjoyed this episode. We will see you in a month for the next one, and in between 2 weeks, you can listen to an episode about a book. We're reading Rebecca by Daphne du Maurier.
So good.
I'm not going to talk about it because I have strong opinions, and I'm going to save it for that episode. So, we'll see you in 2 weeks for that if you want to read along with us to a fun, kind of spooky story. Otherwise, we'll see you next month. And like I said, go check out the newsletter and the website for new classes, new masks. Is there anything else I need to plug, or is that it?
Oh, we have a giveaway that'll start in a minute.
Oh, yeah, there will be a giveaway on our Instagram. So check our Instagram and our website and all that good stuff. And we will see you next time.
See ya.
Bye.
Bye.